Hey there everybody, what's up? Kevin here from the My Song of the Day Rock 2000 to Today YouTube channel, and today I get to do another figure out video that one of our biggest fans has requested. Today, I'm figuring out if I like Jason Richardson. No, not that Jason Richardson. Yeah, that guy. So before we get started, please follow My Song of the Day Rock 2000 for today on places like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You'll get the Song of the Day feature on all those platforms. It's a 30-second preview of a song each and every single day to get you in the know with the emerging bands in the rock and metal scene today, the bands that you used to love, the bands that you're gonna love, the bands that are big that you should be loving right now. You're gonna get all that. It creates a great community, and we also post a lot of other things on there, like when videos come out, when podcasts come out, we ask you a lot of questions. We do our IGTV series every single Tuesday night, which is behind the scenes look at what's going on here, and our Wednesday night live streams on Instagram every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central, because it's an hour we come, hang out, all have a great time. Sometimes we'll tell dark humor jokes, roast each other. It's a great, fun thing. So please follow those links in the description below. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel as well, because you get all these amazing videos that come out every single Wednesday night and some special Monday ones as well. So you get the album reviews, these figure out ones where I figure out if I like a band or a solo artist or not. You also get the top 10 lists. You also get other things like the yearly awards list, so you will get those as well. So please subscribe and hit that notification bell, because you will get notified every single time a video comes out. And this is also home of the Chord Progression podcast, the podcast in the scene where we are interviewing the emerging rock and metal bands today and showing you them so that you can get in on them now, so when they become the biggest bands in the world, you can go and have bragging rights to your friends and say, hey, I knew about them earlier. You can watch all the podcast episodes here on the YouTube channel, or you can listen on Spotify Podcasts and Google Play. Links for everything in the description below, so let's get on to it. So when it comes to Jason Richardson, first thing is, who is Jason Richardson? He's an American-born guitarist who has played in a couple of bands. He has had a stint with the band Born of Osiris in the early 2010s and with Chelsea Grin in the mid-2010s. He also has a solo project out there, and he replaced Ollie Herbert after his passing with All That Remains as a touring guitarist, and now he's a full-time member as of 2019. So this guy's got a lot going for him that I'm going to have to really dive deep into, but when it comes to his guitar style, you can kind of categorize it in one way. So when it comes to Jason's styling, you categorize him as a djent guitarist, and where that comes in is you're going to take a look at it. You're going to have this subgenre of progressive rock, progressive metal that specializes in the guitar with a high gain, low pitch, distortion, palm muted sound. So I kind of knew about that from our buddy Dylan, who told me about it and wanted this video, so I'm like, okay, let's go on that. But outside of that, I really don't know anything about Jason Richardson, because I really didn't listen to much of Born of Osiris. I really didn't listen to Chelsea Grin. I know of All That Remains, but I mean, he hasn't had any releases with All That Remains, and his solo project as well has only had one full release. So I really don't know about anything about this guy except for the bands, the name of the bands that he was in, and the guitar stylings that he works with. So this is going to be a fun one. So when it comes to if I like Jason Richardson or not, I'm going to go through 4 specific things to really kind of put this all together, see if I like him or not. The first is the music, where I'm going to take a look at the album The Discovery by Born of Osiris. I'm going to take a look at the album Ashes to Ashes by Chelsea Grin. And on both those albums, I'm going to make sure that when I take a look at them, I'm only looking at the guitar work and how it amplifies or takes away from the overall sound of the song. So I'm looking at Jason Richardson specifically. With his album, his independent album, yeah, I'm going to take a look at the whole thing in that one, because that's his stuff. The second thing I'm going to look at is his persona and gimmick, and see if there's anything really wacky wonky on there, and see if there's anything you can get behind on that one as a fan. Then the third, I'm going to take a look at the community of fans around his style of music, and I'm looking at the djent community for this one. So this is going to be a lot of fun for me to see if I like it or not. And then of course, we're going to pull it all together and come up with a final verdict. So let's go. Well, now it's time to start listening to some of the music, so let's go. Alrighty, let's dive in. So first, when it comes to the music, we're going to look at The Discovery by Born of Osiris. And when I take a look at this album, again, I'm looking specifically at Jason Richardson's guitar playing style and how his djent style really matches with the Born of Osiris style and really mixes them together. And with Born of Osiris having that rather, brutal sound, some electronic feels to them, especially in the influences, again, like think After the Burial, I was excited to see how this was going to work out. So going forward, I was really excited to jump into this album, so here's what I thought. For the majority of this album, I liked what they did with the guitar work because it had that high gain distortion to it, and it never really jumped the shark. What I mean by that is they never went way too above and beyond where it was going to completely take away from the harder underlying instrumentals that were in this album. They were never going to take away from the vocals either when they were much more unclean. They matched up rather well together in contrast. I thought that helped it out a lot. A good number of times there was a good amount of diversity there within his guitar style, and it showed a good compare and contrast between like a lower sound, a more metalcore, just down to earth, just sound, and then more with that like high distortion sound as well. And it really did work out well with the compare and contrast out without really jumping the shark on this. Take a look at a song like Recreate, where you have just great transitions going through the whole entire thing. Shaping the Masterpiece is kind of tuned like Let's Bury the Hatchet in Your Head by Ice Nine Kills, with just the way it's tuned, especially look at like the first verse of that song. It's like, oh my god, it works out so well. And then Last Straw was absolutely there. I loved how the guitar work worked on these songs because, again, they really played off of the compare and contrast out, but they never jumped the shark on it. However, the one time I thought they jumped the shark with it, when they really went with a higher tuned sound that really kind of threw me off, wasn't a song like Regenerate, but I really liked it because they used it with a chorus at a slower pace to it, and they transitioned into it really well, so they really allowed the song to stand on its own and not really go too crazy with the contrast. I really liked it here. However, there were times where the guitar work did not work on this album for me. Take a look at a song like Dissimulation, and most of the time you're using that like palm muted, like choked up style the whole entire way through this song, and then when you get to the chorus, you go with that really high pitch, high distortion sound, and it just really didn't work out for me as well. That's where that real like contrast kind of sound with Jumping the Shark, I don't think worked out at all for them on this album with Born of Osiris. And then Ascension, I like the diversity and distortion on this one, do not get me wrong. However, the song is constructed with such slow transitions that it just kind of just lingers on and just really does nothing for me. So wasn't a fan of that one. So when it comes to Jason's work on the Discovery by Born of Osiris, what do I think? And for the majority, I really liked it because I loved how his djent style guitar work was really able to create a lot of different styles, a lot of different diversity feelings within the guitar work within this album. I thought it was fantastic, and how they didn't really jump the shark all too much with going with that really high pitch, high distorted sound. However, sometimes they did, and one time it worked, a couple of times it didn't, but for the majority of it, I really liked it. Especially if you take a look at the last song in this album called Behold, and you just want to see how much talent this guy has. Yeah, just listen to that song. You're going to see this. I mean, and that album came out 9 years ago, so you can tell this guy, you know, he knows his stuff. Now we're going to go on to Jason's time with Chelsea Grin and the album Ashes to Ashes. And when I take a look at it, what I thought Chelsea Grin tried to do is they took their rougher heavy metal sound, a lot of chugging, a lot of kind of style, in with Jason Richardson's djent style. So this is going to be interesting to see how it played out. And, well, when it comes to Jason's guitar styling on this album, there were two main points where I liked it. And one was that he took that djent style and mixed it with more of like a melodic metal feel, because when Chelsea Grin worked with like a really harder and more unclean vocal style and ended up making it more melodic in the end, they really ended up letting a higher distorted djent feel sound from Jason really also carry the song along with the vocals, and it just worked out so well using the contrast of a rougher style and a higher pitch, higher distortion guitar that mixed with, you know, a more melodic sense. Take a look at songs like Illuminate and Nightmares. It amplifies it all in here. The second thing I really liked about Jason's guitar work on the Ashes to Ashes album is, you know, listening to the needs of the song. So this is something where when you're listening to the song, it's like, okay, where does the guitar work need to be here? Does it need to do something that, you know, maybe we're not necessarily comfortable with, but it's just what the song is asking for? They really did a good amount of this, especially in a song like Cheers to Us, which was my favorite because it used a lot more like a down-tuned style to it, but also kept the diversity in the style, which kept amplifying, you know, like the hard rock, and it created this overall great song in the end. I really do like it, so yeah. One thing I really didn't like about Jason's playing on this album was just he really focused on the chugging style with a good amount of songs. Take a look at the first few songs with songs like Playing with Fire, Pledge Allegiance, and Morte Eterna. It just, you heard this like chugging style all the time, like and what I didn't like about it was because I know how much talent Jason has just after listening to what he did with Born of Osiris, and you can create so much diversity within that sound, and these songs just sounded kind of bland to me. They just really didn't go very well, so after about 3 songs I was like, oh man, is this what we're gonna get? But thank God I still listened to the rest of it, and you know what? I just kind of not a biggest fan of those because, again, the guy's got so much talent, you can do so many different things. They did play with that djent style a little bit, but it was just flashes in the pan on these songs. So I was like, pass. So overall, in comparison, I think Chelsea Grin did a little bit worse with using Jason Richardson's talents, because when they kind of just played off with that, more chugging style, more that style that I think they're better off with. But just seeing what they did with Jason on other times where, they brought in a little bit more of that djent style, the higher distortion to play that compare and contrast game, I thought it worked out better, and the more chugging style they had, those songs kind of all ran together. So in this one, it was more like, you can't really put Jason Richardson in a box on this. And I really like more what Born of Osiris did with his talents and what Chelsea Grin did, but there are a good amount of points where Chelsea Grin uses talents tremendously, and I did mention those at the beginning when I went through it, so it's fine. It's just not as good as what Born of Osiris had with Jason. When it comes to Jason's solo project though, and his album I, there was one thing I really did like about it, and it showed me something that I saw with Born of Osiris and Chelsea Grin, and that's when you mix his djent guitar stylings with vocals. You can do so much with it, and I love what Jason's able to do with how much he's able to do on that guitar, because with different sounds, he was able to do these higher distortions, these higher pitches, these lower pitches, these really heavy riffs, and these really wacky things as well, where he's able to not only match the vocals with what they're doing, but also completely contrast against them as well. And what I love about this is you're able to amplify so many things with them. You're able to create so many different sounds that not a lot of people are able to make, and I saw it on Born of Osiris, and I saw it on Chelsea Grin. And here on a solo, he really only had like a couple of songs that even had vocals, and they were all guest appearances as well, but those are the songs that stuck out to me the most. So take a look at a song like Retrograde, where you had a higher tuned sound with Spencer Sotelo like higher vocal mix and heavy backing. Like, it just created an incredible sound from everything, where you have a little bit higher pitch from the guitar and Spencer, but then you also have heavier backing instrumentals, and I really did like it. Then take a look at a song like Fragments, where you're changing just the pacing on the guitar every step of the way, and it works so well to amplify the vocals because you're changing so much up of it. This is where it stood out to me. Where I don't like his solo project would have to be the fact that it's mostly instrumental, and this is more of a personal thing on my end, because when it comes to listening to music, I love how the vocals are added in there, and I love how they play off with all the other instrumentals and create this incredibly just song and style and sound. It's just the way it is. When I listen to a lot of just straight up instrumental stuff, I do get that, but it just feels like there's a piece missing at points. There are some great instrumental songs, don't get me wrong, and this has nothing to do on Jason's ability to play guitar, because he's able to change up so many things on a dime, do so many things that when I think about a guitar, like, I can't even fathom playing guitar. And then there's guys like him and Mark Tremonti, where I look at him like, how in the hell are you doing that? I don't even know how anyone does this normally, but then you're doing that, like, what are you talking about? So when it comes down to it, it's just more of a personal taste thing for me on his solo album, where I'm like, just straight instrumental, I'm not really going to listen to it. However, this has nothing to do with the fact that this guy is an amazing guitarist. One thing I will point out on this album with the more instrumental soundtracks are just, there are times where he's able to just create this like real creepy kind of vibe, more haunted soundscape vibes on songs like Mirrors and Chapter 2, where those are the songs that I really do like when it comes to the instrumental side, because you really create just this different aura than you were not expecting. So I do like those. However, for the majority of it, again, I love it. I love his guitar sounding, but again, it's a personal taste thing for me, where it's a lot of instrumental stuff that's just purely instrumental. I kind of tend to pass on. Again, personal thing. So when it comes to the overall on the music, do I like it? On this one, I'm actually going to stay neutral to it, because when it comes to Jason Richardson, like taking a look at what he did on his solo album, yeah, you're going to get a lot of instrumental tracks, and that's just not something I really do care for. And then on stuff like what you do with Chelsea Grin, for most time, he kind of just kept in line with what Chelsea Grin needed him to do for their kind of style. And while it was okay, don't get me wrong, it's just nothing that really stands out to me. However, take a look at what he did on Born of Osiris, and then what he did with the song that had the vocal mixture in on his solo project. I was clearly able to see how great this guy is with creating so many different sounds with a diverse styling and mixing them into so many different places. I thought it was absolutely incredible with what he's able to do on the guitar. So that's where I'm neutral on, where it's like there's some things I don't like, but there's something that I do like. But this has nothing to do with the fact that this guy is an amazing guitarist. He is incredible. And I'm really happy to see what All That Remains is going to come up with him as their lead guitarist, because you're able to play with so many different styles with this guy. I'm really curious to see what they're going to come up with, and I think this might be like the top thing that Jason Richardson will do is with All That Remains. So that remains to be seen, but as of right now, it's neutral, because I've seen some good, I've seen some things I really don't care for, and that's just my opinion. Now I'm going to go to the second portion of this, which is the image and gimmick side of this. And when I take a look at every band that I've done so far, like I've done Dance Gavin Dance, I've done Baby Metal, I've done Poppy, and I've done The Who. they've all had some sort of like real gimmick behind them. Dance getting into that Wheedly Wheedly style, and that's just kind of that is who they are, and the everyman feel to it. Baby metal with the kawaii metal, Japanese cute, Japanese idol thing. Poppy was just being weird, and then the Who with the sticking with the Mongolian theme. When it comes to Jason Richardson, again, this is just a guitarist, and well, not just a guitarist, a really good guitarist, but he's a guitarist. He's not the front man. He's not kind of going out there. So really, when it comes down to his image and his gimmick, it's like he's a djent god, honestly. So when I take a look at the image, I'm thinking, you know what? This is something that I'm neutral on, just because nothing really stands out to me on this. So I'm like, okay, you know, it's nothing that I'm not going to really pass on, because it's like, oh, I can't get into it, but it's nothing that's going to grip me like Ice Nine Kills did. So, yeah, I'm going to stay neutral when it comes to his image and gimmick, because, honestly, there's not much there outside of the djent styling, so, So when it comes to the community as a whole around Jason Richardson, I can't really put that in a box, so I have to broaden the scope in. I'm going to have to go with the djent community overall on this one, because that's his style, so we're really going to dive deep into that a little bit more. And when I was trying to figure out, okay, what is the djent community, I was going to go online, go to different places, but I knew someone had something to kind of describe it out for me a little bit before I jumped into it, and of course it's Finn McKenzie from the Punk Rock NBA. We saw a video where he was talking about different band fandoms, and that he really didn't like. However, the one he ended with that he really did like was the djent community. And honestly, I took a look to kind of see, okay, where's this djent community coming from? And this is what I got. So when it comes down to it, he called them like an awkward crowd, but also the smartest and most intelligent group of people you will ever see, and also the very nice and very sweet and very friendly as well. So in the djent community, you have a lot of like scientists and engineers and architects that really are into that kind of style. So they're incredibly smart. Do not get me wrong on that. And it's also like, you know, they might be a little awkward at times, but you know what? Sometimes that's fine as well. I mean, I'm awkward too. But he also said they are great shit posters. So I wanted to see what the djent shit posting page was like. So I jumped on Facebook. I'll put a couple of posts up that I saw that I took screenshots of up on the side. But when I went on there, I could not stop laughing, because these people were putting out everything as possible to shit post not only rock and roll, but also themselves as well. Like, they were going heavily into it. And what I absolutely loved about it was if you take a look at the post and then the comments under the post, they literally were doing it like a comedy roast style, where they were picking apart everything for the fun of it, but they never really crossed the line too much. But at the end, you know, you're always going to know that, you know, this was all just, you know, for shits and for gigs. And it's kind of funny, don't get me wrong. I love comedy roast. So I was like, this is absolutely fantastic. This might be the first time, like, after I saw something like this, like, I joined that djent shitposting group right away, because I thought it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen, and I could absolutely be a part of that, really get into it. So yeah, I'm definitely big on this. Yeah. Oh yeah. So when it comes to the classic archetype of a fan, I'm going to look at Finn McKenzie for this one, because he did a lot more research on this than I did, so I'm going to refer to him on this one. And he was talking about, again, that classic fan of djent, and taking a look at a very smart, very intelligent fan, someone who's educated, but very much like more science engineer kind of style. He can also be socially awkward as well, and again, that's not really me. I mean, I majored in econ in college, this is what I'm doing, and I'm having a blast, like going out, playing disc golf, playing soccer, working out all the time, just having a blast doing that, and honestly having a great time. However, when I did take a look at like the Reddit's page, like kind of subreddit, Reddit community for djent, and then the djent shitposting page, I saw a lot of things like someone creating like a djent style Pokemon intro, and then like a djent Yu-Gi-Oh guitar with like I can't remember what it was called. I remember I was into Yu-Gi-Oh when I was in 3rd grade. I just can't remember what it was called. But it's like they have the thing on their arm, and it's just like they put the cards in there, and it's like, okay, it's basically like your battle platform or whatever it might be. I don't really know, but I thought that was pretty cool. And when I took a look at it, do I fit the classic archetype of fan? No. However, if I was going to be going to a show with the fans in this community, honestly, I could easily get along with them, because I do know some of the stuff about this, but not too much. But, I mean, we're all super friendly, so why not? So overall, when it comes to the community, I don't really fit the archetype of fan, but I mean, it's pretty much, I would have to say, am I into it? Yeah, I joined the shitposting group right away. This is totally something for me. Now time to give my overall verdict on do I like Jason Richardson or not. And my verdict is neutral, but kind of looking towards positive. Let me explain. So when it comes down to the gimmick of Jason Richardson, it comes down to the community as well. I'm rather neutral, but with the community, I'm much more positive on that as well. So I'm like, okay, it's kind of something I can get into, but not really, because it just really doesn't necessarily fit the style that I like. Like, I really like the harder kind of style. I mean, hardcore punk, punk rock, hard rock, metalcore, that kind of stuff. That high distortion really isn't the most insane thing for me, so it's not really something I'm going to really get full behind. However, I do like it at points, so that's where kind of like that gimmick in the community kind of had that neutral / positive feel to it. But when it comes to Jason, though, I mean, the primary thing about it is it's going to be about the music. And I've seen with this solo project, when it's more instrumental for the most part, I do want to pass on it. But again, that's personal preference when it comes down to it, because it just doesn't really work with me. That's just the way it is. However, in a solo project, when he had songs that had those vocals in there, I really did like it. So I'm like, okay, I can see that works. When it comes to Jason Richardson, again, it's just the style that he's playing in, and it just comes to, if he's gonna be working with something that has more vocals behind it as well, that allow his incredible guitar skills to be able to compare with what the vocals are doing, contrast with what the vocals are doing, compare with the rest of the instrumentation, contrast against, and create these incredible songs that have a lot of diversity to them. I can really get behind it, like I did with what he did with Born of Osiris, more than I did with Chelsea Grin. However, I did like some of the stuff he did with Chelsea Grin, but because it's more split down the middle on that, I'm going to say it's neutral. But however, I'm going to say it's more of a look towards positive as well, through the fact that now he's a member of All That Remains, and I'm really curious to see what he does with them. And if All That Remains is able to capture what they did with Born of Osiris with Jason Richardson, I mean, you're going to see songs that have these incredible guitar parts for every single thing, and they're going to perfectly compare and contrast what the vocals are trying to do. I think this has a lot of potential, so that's why I'm saying neutral right now, but looking towards positive, because I can see a lot of great things happening here for Jason Richardson and All That Remains. And that's going to be it for me, guys. So Dylan, because I know you requested it, I hope you liked what I had to say. If you didn't, I'm going to hear from you in a text or Instagram message or something like that. So yeah. But as for everyone else, thank you guys for watching. Please check out Born of Osiris, Chelsea Grin, Jason Richardson's solo project, and then All That Remains when their next album comes out, because then you can get it on Jason Richardson as well. That's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching. This is Kevin from the My Song They Rock 2000 YouTube channel. And with the hat flip, always mess up on these. I don't think I've gotten one yet. See ya!